Hi Gaurav,
Hi, Celeste.
how are you doing today?
Doing well, thank you. How about you?
Good, good. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for joining in for Hub Analytics, the Real Talk. And for our viewers, we bring these real talks so that we can give you industry expertise about data science and AI that is being used and what are the future skills are going to look like. So I welcome you all as well to the Real Talk with Hub Analytics. Just to give you a little information about Gaurav, he has about 15 years of experience in learning and development, and he has his expertise in e-commerce, IT, and banking. And right now, he is working with a top international bank as a senior leader. So, thank you for taking out the time, Gaurav.
Thank you for having me, Celeste. It's a pleasure.
So, Gaurav, the point of our conversation really is to help our audiences understand that data analytics and AI is the future, and it is being utilized in most of the industry because I cannot think of an industry where this is not utilized. And being a colleague in the learning and development area, I thought it'd be very nice to talk to you and understand where are we standing in terms of data science and AI in learning and development.
I think most of the industries, as you correctly said, are quickly adopting the ways of data analytics and AI, and they are looking at how they can implement and make use of it to make informed
Mm-hmm.
decisions or to improve their offerings and products. And that is true for the learning and development space as well. Most organizations are now turning to data analytics and AI. Data analytics has always been part of the learning and development analytics or HR analytics, but AI is the new upcoming tool really
Yes.
that can further enhance how
So,
companies develop, absorb, and consume learning, right? So but there is still much work to be done, and companies are now just learning the basics about it, and they are just adapting to the tools, and they're getting introduced to it. um,
mm,
that's what I can observe.
right. And why do you think there is this delay or this mindset about not adopting these technologies as quickly as we should?
There can be several reasons, right? One could be simply the lack of data literacy and technical skills among the L&D professionals. While
Mm-hmm.
the L&D professionals may be experts in their own domain, they may not have the technical expertise to use those data analytics tools, which makes it challenging for them to make data driven decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Another reason at an organizational level could be the concerns about data privacy, because they want to make sure that the employee data is protected, and L&D departments are always cautious about it. So that could be
Mm-hmm.
one of the barriers. And also there can also be a lack of resources, budget, or in other words, organizational support to invest in data analytics tools and training.
So, do you think L&D itself is trying to enhance the skill sets of its employees, like the ones who are working in L&D?
They are, but uh, there is not a direct impact of their skill set on overall business results, there is an impact, but most organizations don't see it like that right now. They may not fully appreciate the effect investment in the development of their L&D teams and their resources, sorry about the noise,
Hmm.
um,
Yes.
and and how how it affects their overall business outcome, while the effect of their mainstream production, sales, marketing, operation staffs training, that is more apparent and it is more direct.
Yeah. Right. So, and what do you think this loss can lead to if industries don't really start working on the development of the L&D, existing L&D, I mean, what can be the larger impact of it?
Um, it has a multi-dimensional impact. Really, one is the overall learning experience of the employees that can be impacted. Today's a market of great competition between employers, right? Everybody wants to do to create better employee experience, better learning experience, and um, many brands have been able to develop the market image as a great place to learn, or they have the reputation of having very robust learning and development programs and initiatives, and the workforce gravitates towards them. So it becomes
Yeah,
important for companies to invest in the development of their people, and also make investment in the tools and technology, because it has a direct impact on how the candidates view them as a prospective
yeah,
employer. There's also a direct impact on um, how the organization as a business can stay competitive in the market, because you have to be up to date and abreast with what's happening in the market and quickly adapt to changes. And if you fail to do that, then you obviously lag behind, and that's not good for business.
yeah. That's true. That's very true. And when you talk about the tools, since both of us are in the content industry, the advent of ChatGPT has really brought in a huge change. In fact, it is called the fourth industrial disruption, industrial revolution. It's a big
Yeah,
disruption after COVID. So, what's your
yeah.
opinion about L&D adopting ChatGPT and this whole new AI dimension that is opening up? It's because it's not just ChatGPT. There are multiple other AI tools that are coming up in the market. What do you think about that?
Yeah. So everybody's talking about ChatGPT, but it's just the tip of the iceberg, really. And like you correctly said,
Yeah.
there are so many other tools that are there. And what I've seen is that organizations are already talking about it, and they're taking it seriously, not just the small ones, but the big ones as well, because
Yeah.
they see this as a disruptive change. But it is more about whether you learn to uh, manage the power of ChatGPT, or you are petrified by it. So I think organizations are now investing in learning about ChatGPT more effectively. They know that it's here, the future is here, and it's going to change how we work. But it is more about how you can use it as a tool, and
Yeah.
and don't face it as an enemy. So there are so many applications of AI tools in the learning and development space, right, that we are already exploring. One of these is
Yeah.
about how we can use these AI based tools to create customized learning experiences for individuals based on their learning style, their preferences, and their interests. Just like how Netflix would recommend certain shows to you based on your previous watch history and what kind of genres you like and what would appeal to you. Based on that, even our LMSs are now being taught to observe the learners learning patterns and recommend additional learning and reading, which is not really which is really a new thing that we are seeing.
Mm.
So
Mm.
far learning was being pushed out to the learners from the L&D departments, and
Mm.
now the AI systems are kind of taking over that role of advising the learner
Yeah.
on what could be a good learning for them. Also, there is an impact of ChatGPT on content creation, like you clearly said. It can be used for making content, videos, scripts for videos. There are tools for creating videos, which are AI based videos where you don't need an you don't need an actor
Yeah.
narrating the material. um, as well as it can be used to make quizzes and assessments, and that overall effectively reduces the time and cost associated with content creation. It can also ensure that the training materials are standardized and consistent across the organization, because large organizations usually have this trouble of working in silos, and different learning teams are sometimes duplicating work that somebody else is also doing in another part of the company. So those kind of issues can be eliminated. There is also fantastic application of ChatGPT, which is about creating a conversation like learning experience, like just like how you would ask a question to somebody on a chat
Yes.
in office, or
Yes.
somebody, you would ask somebody, an instructor, certain questions. And chat gpt is taking over that role, and
Yeah.
it is letting the people learn at their own pace,
Yes.
in their own style, modify their questions if they don't get the right answers, as well as reducing the overall need for human intervention. So I think that is taking over a lot of the shoulders of the learning teams. If That's how I see it. Obviously, there are some privacy issues and ethical issues related to these AI tools, and that needs to be ensured that organizations are safe from that area. I was recently reading this case where in an IT company, a major IT firm, consulting firm, an employee put one of his programs, a code, into ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT to debug it. But the problem is that once you've put the code onto ChatGPT, now it is ChatGPT's information. Now it is in
Yeah.
public domain. It is on ChatGPT servers. That can compromise
Hmm.
the legal issues and
The
ethical
privacy.
issues related to
Yes.
use. Yeah,
Yeah, I think the regulatory departments of any organizations need to wake up on how they have to adopt it, but then how can they still maintain the privacy of the organization and its resources? That also is important. What I see is, in fact, a lot of people on LinkedIn and other places have started talking about how new profiles and new job profiles are going to open up when it comes to all these tools in various industries. So, what kind of job roles do you think emerging in the L&D space, uh, which are directly related to the new tools that have come up in the market?
yeah. I think the main task that will be left to the mankind after AI becomes a mainstream way of working is what questions to ask.
Right.
Also, thinking will be the part that the humans will have to take care of, because the information is out there. The information
Yes.
has always been out there even before ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But knowing what to look for, what's relevant,
Yeah.
and making that judgment, I think
Yeah.
that's what will be left to us. So it is important that they learn how to use these tools effectively. There's a whole background of how these algorithms works in the background, so you understand the mechanism of those algorithms, and you know how to use it effectively, so that you can get the results that you want. Because ChatGPT would also give you a lot of noise and irrelevant information if you don't know how to ask the right questions,
Yeah.
right? So I think those are the skills that are now popular. I already see courses in the public domain being offered by experts on ChatGPT, on how you can learn to use ChatGPT before it takes
Yes.
over. So I think people are quick to ride that wave, and I
Yeah.
already see that happening.
Yeah, it's like the fastest, the one who wakes up the first,
Yeah.
actually stays ahead of the race. Um, and that brings me to a very interesting scenario where all this while we were thinking that L&D experts needed the L&D expertise, which is probably instructional designing, facilitating, but now we're getting into the field of more or less IT skills to be able to understand what a particular AI app can do for you. So
Yeah.
understanding the algorithms, as you mentioned, so that like moves the entire space for an L&D professional. Do you think it's gonna come back heavily on? Oh, I thought I was an L&D expert. I did my instructional designing. Now I have to learn IT skills. What do you think about that?
I think that applies to every industry, right? You have to continue to
Mm.
learn what is happening around you, and learn new skills. So L&D is no exception, right? But
Yeah.
we'll all have to do that, and continuously have to
Yeah.
do that throughout our working lives. But I think the design thinking still remains important, right?
Yeah.
For example, if you want to build a training course, it'll give you a generic outline. If you use ChatGPT to, I tried it once, so I asked ChatGPT to give me a lesson plan
Yes.
on a particular topic. So it would give me a very generic lesson plan, right?
Yeah.
Like you would ask a consultant, an external consultant, without giving them much detail about your company, with your organization, how the dynamics works, how the roles are segregated. And if you ask them to do a course on a certain technology or any topic, they would
Yeah.
give you a generic design, and that's what ChatGPT would give you. But then you need to know which of these components you want to keep, which ones you want to discard, where you do you want to make some changes, where do you want to spend more time, where you want to include more examples, scenarios, where you want to build in more practice. So all of that thinking will still have to happen, and that's what an instructional designer does, right? So this is what I think will not change.
Yeah.
I think what is changing is that instead of going out and researching on your own, and you're doing some researches, looking at different resources and trying to gather information, I think that piece has become shorter. It's become easier
Yes.
with advent of AI tools.
Yeah. It reduces the time that is consumed in so much of research, because that's right, readily available for you. And plus, it also gives you sort of a skeleton on which you can customize your L&D offering in the way you would like to. So I think that is a huge thing. And not we're not just talking about ChatGPT. We're also talking about all the other tools that are available. And the fact, I mean, it's my own experience that when I design my own training programs, or anything else for that matter, anything related to content, my first go to place would be ChatGPT, and then I would customize it to my needs. And again, the way we query ChatGPT, that also I have enhanced that over a period of time, because I did not come with those skills. So I think those are really, really important skills that a learning and development specialist or a professional at any space, save time, get more useful content out of it, get a better learning experience for the audience. So now, based on all of this, what do you think the future employees in L&D look like? If you had to create a persona, what would they look like?
I would imagine a successful L&D professional of the future should have a bouquet of skills. Of course, they need learning skills and learning theory and principles, as well as their subject matter expertise, as well as they'll have to do a fair bit of data analytics. So they must develop skills related to statistical analysis and data
Hmm.
visualization, as well as data interpretation.
Hmm.
A lot of times what happens is they have access to a lot of data, but they don't know how to use it, and what inferences they want to gather from that information, and what is the possibility, right? So those are the skills that the L&D professionals of future will have to develop, as well as they should be able to not just interpret from the data, but also be able to communicate that effectively to their stakeholders. And I think that is where that human expertise will still always be required, and that's what they should be working towards.
That's very interesting, because yes, all this while we've been keeping the math and the statistics on the sidelines, but now it's become mainstream. So, if you have to cite a situation when, just because it was difficult, the skill was not readily available, it actually hampered a task.
uh, there are several examples, but one of these is um, uh, during the training needs analysis. Let's say if you're
Yes.
doing any kind of a training needs assessment on any sort of technical skills or functional skills, you have to consult data.
Yes.
But for example, if you want to identify what are the main pain areas or learning deficiencies for a cohort of people, you look for several sources of data. So you look at their quality scores, right? In any kind of a production environment, you look for their quality scores, and you look for uh, what are the main areas. But what I've seen is that many L&D professionals don't know what kind of data to ask for to perform that analysis, right? What data to ask for, what data will tell them all that underlying story, because on the surface it may look like, okay, this looks like a fuzzy assessment problem, but it is not enough to go on. So once understanding what is the data required, what data should we ask for, the data is out there. Once we have the data, the again, a skill gap is about what questions to ask this data, right?
Hmm.
I've seen many people are afraid of analytics tools, and even basic data analytics, even using tools like Excel. I'm not even talking about Tableau or something high end, but even basic data analytics, many L&D professionals don't feel comfortable with, and I think that is
Hmm.
one of the problems. And once they have figured out what questions to ask, getting those answers is easy, right? So that is why I have seen many of those L&D teams making mistakes of creating uh, very generic, broad brushing training programs that they roll out to a very large number of people, because they could not isolate who are the people that need help, right? And whether
Hmm.
it is even a training problem or not, right? Because a lot of times they respond to any performance deficiency with training. It's a knee jerk reaction to any performance deficiency, and they think training would fix it, but it's not always the answer. There are so many other environmental factors that come into play to create that problem. So training needs assessment is not just identifying whether there is a need for training or not, but it's also identifying what are the other contributing factors that are creating this problem, so that you can become a consultant to your business, and you can make recommendations about what else would you like to change other than training that is causing this problem, right? A lot of times what happens is, if you look at poor quality scores in any business, it is usually a very small number of people in a very small area that is contributing to a very large proportion of the issue. And it is
Hmm.
not that
That's
everybody
true.
can. So making that judgment and that clear distinction is very important
Yeah.
for learning professionals. So I've seen issues like that happen related to data analytics.
Yeah, that's true because it's not one size fits all in training, and we've always been talking about it. It's just that we've never gotten an opportunity to actually put that in practice because it requires a lot of tools and a lot of expertise and a lot of knowledge amongst the people themselves to be able to apply that in the real world. Do you think in the future such skills are going to become part of the job description itself? Like your screening
Yes,
will start happening on these tools.
yes, it is because if you would see job descriptions of today, right? Today they are writing in the job descriptions that the incumbent should be proficient with MS Excel or PowerPoint or Word, right? Basic tools. So they basically pay a lot of attention on this, because they know that they'll have to use these tools once they get here. This is going to be the case with the AI tools as well, just in a matter of a couple of years, I would say.
Yeah, it's actually picked up pretty fast. When I see it's about a few months, in fact, that these AI tools have picked up, and some new tools have been developed on the side. Like, it's amazing how fast technology can bring worldwide change,
Yes.
starting from the universities to workplaces and stuff like that. So great. So any last words that you would like to tell our viewers about data science and its usage in the learning and development area?
Yeah, I would say that we are fast approaching the tipping point in terms of AI and data analytics in our industry. So we can expect to see more personalized learning experience, with use of data that
Hmm.
leverages machine learning algorithms to recommend training programs based on your interests, skills, and career goals. Organizations are
Hmm.
exploring how they can link it to the performance appraisal systems as well as career planning
Yeah.
systems to make recommendations about learning. It can also be used to measure the impact of training programs and identify areas of improvement, which has been a pain point for a lot of learning teams and companies, because they are making tons of investment in learning, but they
Yeah.
don't always get to see how it affects the overall business results. So the focus of AI and machine learning based tools in measurement of effectiveness of learning is huge, and I think that's going to make a big difference. There was recently a study by IBM, that I saw that says that AI can improve employee learning outcomes by up to 50%. So that is a big improvement, and I see that there are more, virtual and augmented reality applications that are now becoming commonplace in training, which allow employees to experience real life scenarios in a safe and controlled environment. So the future is exciting. I think it's really up to the learning and development professionals to quickly adapt and look into the future and be
Yeah.
ready, because the future is already here. Celeste.
Absolutely. All of these things I remember we used to talk about, and we used to wonder, okay, now how are we going to manage this amount of data and this amount of thought process? But it's all available now for us. There are tools, there are people who are ready to develop customized tools for you. So I think it's a matter of somebody being really creative and identifying a way to create a more better learning experience, and that's about it. That's going to probably bring another big change in the industry. So, being an L&D person, I feel so excited about the future, and what it is going to do for our space. It's really, we just wait and watch, and we don't have to wait for too long, I think.
I agree. I agree.
Great. Thank you so much, Gaurav, for being with us on the Real Talk. And I hope we can get to talking to you in the future as well. And all the best.
Just saying thank you for having me here. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you, and
Thank you.
all the best, Celeste.
Totally appreciate. Thank you so much.